The Main Intelligence Directorate of the Ministry of Defense has launched a complex landing operation in Pokrovsk, Suspilne reported, citing sources within the defense forces. It is claimed that special forces and aviation of the Main Intelligence Directorate are involved in the operation. Military reconnaissance aircraft entered areas of the city that Russian command considered under its control, the publication states. The journalist source claims that these areas are strategically important for Ukrainian logistics. According to Dzerkalo Tyzhnia outlet, Main Intelligence Directorate Special Operations Forces have launched a complex air assault operation under the command of Lieutenant General Kyrylo Budanov. In the Pokrovsk area of Donetsk region, Ukrainian troops have launched a counteroffensive, the Economist journalist Oliver Carroll reports on the X network. According to Ukrainian military intelligence, a bold counteroffensive is underway in the Pokrovsk area with the aim of restoring key logistics routes, he wrote. Carroll also published a video that he claimed showed helicopters landing in areas the Russians claim are under their control. The journalist added that he was unable to verify the authenticity of the video. As reported by Serhiy Okashev, an officer of the Communications Department of the 7th Rapid Response Corps of the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, the situation in the Pokrovskoy direction has changed significantly over the past week. The defense forces are conducting an operation to counter Russian units that managed to infiltrate the city and accumulate personnel. According to him, the number of military personnel storming the Pokrovsk-Mirnograd agglomeration is 27,000 people. Russia has concentrated a group of about 170,000 people in the Pokrovsk direction. President Volodymyr Zelensky announced this. The situation in Pokrovsk is difficult. All their forces are there. There are 170,000 enemy troops concentrated in this area. This is a lot, the president said. According to him, he spoke with the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of Ukraine Oleksandr Syrsky. He said there were no changes in Pokrovsk. Russian UAV units are controlling the logistics routes of the Ukrainian defense forces, and the Ukrainian military is striking at the enemy's logistics. Because of this, Russians have to walk about 25 to 30 kilometers to get to the city. Zelensky added that the occupiers were tasked with capturing Pokrovsk, as they had no success in the Sumy and Kharkiv regions. Commander-in-Chief Syrsky stated that there was no blocking of Ukrainian forces in Pokrovsk. At the same time, he admitted that the situation in the city remains difficult. Starting from November 3, electric vehicles and hybrid vehicles will be completely prohibited from crossing the Crimean Bridge. The relevant amendments to the resolution were signed on October 30 by the governor of the Krasnodar territory, Veniamin Kondrativ. The documents are provided in the Telegram channel of the Operstaba of the Krasnodar territory. Starting at midnight on November 3, 2025, traffic restrictions on hybrid cars and electric vehicles from the Taman Peninsula on the section of the Novorossiysk-Kerch Public Highway A, 290 from kilometer 134 plus 660 to kilometer 145 plus 400 in the direction of the highway component of the Kerch Strait transport crossing, the decree says. However, for trucks and electric cars, as well as hybrid vehicles, an overland route to Crimea remains available through the Zaporizhia and Kherson regions, starting from Taganrog and reaching Dzerkalo. Recall, recently Ukraine's security service has successfully carried out a months-long covert operation that struck the Crimean Bridge for a third time, with a precision underwater explosion. The first blast rocked the bridge, severely damaging underwater support pillars with an estimated 1,100 kilograms of explosives in TNT equivalent, according to Ukrainian intelligence officials. The operation, planned and executed in total secrecy, targeted the illegal structure's underwater foundations, rendering the bridge, used by Russia as a vital military logistics route, in a critically damaged state. Lieutenant General Vasil Maliuk, head of the SBU, personally oversaw the operation from start to finish. God loves a trinity, and the SBU always finishes what it starts and never repeats itself, Maliuk said. We hit the Crimean Bridge twice before, in 2022 and 2023. And we continued that tradition, this time, from below the surface. There is no place on Ukrainian territory for Russia's illegal infrastructure, he added. The Crimean Bridge is a completely legitimate target, especially given that the enemy has used it as a logistical artery to supply its troops. Crimea is Ukraine, and any signs of occupation will receive a harsh response. This marks the third successful Ukrainian attack on the Crimean Bridge since Russia's full-scale invasion began, but the first to use underwater demolition tactics. Earlier, Commander of the Ukrainian Navy, Vice Admiral Alexei Nizpapa stated that Ukraine is actively discussing a third operation targeting the Crimean Bridge. Recall, Russia is seeking life imprisonment for 8 individuals whom Russians accuse of planning to blow up the Crimean Bridge in October 2022. Court hearings in this case took place on October 29, 2025, in Rostov-on-Don, where the prosecution urged the maximum penalty for all suspects. According to the Russian side, 5 Russian citizens and 3 citizens of Ukraine and Armenia were detained during the investigation. As part of this case, the investigation is focused on establishing the suspects' involvement in planning and coordinating the attack, as well as clarifying each of their roles in the actions directly related to the detonation and its aftermath.
Former head of the Luhansk Military Civil Administration and former Deputy Minister for Temporarily Occupied Territories and Internally Displaced Persons, Georgy Tuka, commented on the possibility of attacks on the aggressor country, Russia. A simulated strike against the Kremlin would achieve little. The disabling of the capital's airports would cause far greater discontent among Russians, but given that we don't yet have many powerful long-range weapons, it's better to use them against targets within the Russian Federation that are somehow connected to the Russian army and defense industry. He emphasized in an interview with Glavred. The expert says there are numerous such facilities in the Moscow region, some of which produce products, for example, for ballistic missiles, that no other company in the Russian Federation produces. So if we disable even one of these facilities, the production chain will be disrupted, at least temporarily. A blackout in Moscow wouldn't hurt either, but I doubt we can organize that right now. Look at the Moscow air defense map. Moscow's airports are a weak point. Therefore, if we were to strike the Russian capital, I believe it would be advisable to focus on the airports, Tuka added. Defense Minister, advisor and blogger Alexei Kopytko reported that the SBU continues systematically and effectively targeting Russian defense sector enterprises, significantly reducing Russia's potential for missile and drone strikes against Ukraine. He emphasized that the Russian military-industrial complex has vulnerabilities, and targeted strikes against production facilities are already having a tangible effect, especially given Russia's dependence on imported components. According to Kopytko, even a single precision strike can cause significant damage. Combined with operations against Russia's strategic aviation, such actions are becoming a real tool for influencing the course of the war. The Russian military-industrial complex has vulnerabilities, and systematically targeting factories is paying off, given Russia's dependence on imports. Even a single hit can cause significant harm. Combined with the pursuit of Russian strategic aircraft, this could have a real impact on the course of the war. Successful attacks deep into Russia add political arguments to those whose interests align with ours. This is especially important now. Recall Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Kyiv's forces were working to expand their long-range strikes inside Russia, with their sights set on oil refineries, the pumping heart of Moscow's war economy. Russia relies on its vast revenues from oil production to help sustain its ongoing war with Ukraine. The largest purchaser of Russian oil is China. its key strategic partner. Kyiv's recent strikes on major refineries and processing plants have disrupted Russian production, and new US and European Union sanctions will add pressure on Moscow to end the war.